What is going on, everybody? It is your boy GoldenVolt, and I am back again with an NFL playoff predictor video. So you guys have probably seen a lot of these videos going around, YouTubers kind of predicting the NFL playoffs, predicting from the wild card all the way to the Super Bowl, and just kind of talking about who their picks are, so I figured why not do the same. So right now I'm going to actually bring the playoff bracket onto the screen, and during the video, just, comment down below who you think is going to win the playoffs, from the wild card all the way to the Super Bowl. Let me know what you guys think. So with the wild card being this weekend, I'm actually going to start there.
Hey Volt, it's me, Volt. I'm editing this video right now, and I just wanted to tell you that I think you're a total dumbass. Even if the wild card didn't start this weekend, where else would you start the video?
Now, one thing I noticed, and it's not just me, it's also Vegas and these betting sites that are noticing it, is that these wildcard games probably aren't going to be very close. More than likely, the favorites are going to win, and the team who is expected to take the victory probably will. So that being said, let's get into the Chiefs-Titans matchup. If you guys followed me on Twitter, you saw that I was kind of upset that the Titans made it. I love the Titans just as much as the next guy, but they really haven't been that good of a team this year. And I guess it just sucks seeing a team that's not very good make it to the playoffs when there's a lot of teams that I think were more deserving. For example, somebody like the Chargers. But regardless, they made it, and they're playing the Chiefs. Well, the Chiefs might be a little more boring. They've been consistently good all year, and I don't think that's going to stop here. So this one, I definitely had the Chiefs taking the W. On to the AFC game number 2, Jacksonville versus the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are another one of those teams that I don't necessarily have anything against, but it kind of hurts me seeing them in the playoffs because it took Andy Dalton converting a 4th and forever against the Ravens for them to get there, and it didn't seem like they actually earned it. And also LeSean McCoy, if you guys don't know, hurt his leg or his hip or something in the past game, and I'm pretty sure he's doubtful for this game. Obviously, Jacksonville's defense is really good, and with LeSean McCoy out, that's just such a big part of the Bills' offense that's missing. I don't think either teams are going to score a lot of points, but I do think Jacksonville is going to come out with this one. It's going to be really, really close. Honestly, I think the spread is Buffalo +9, and I'd honestly consider betting on that, but I do think Jacksonville's going to get the final W. Moving on to the NFC, we had the New Orleans Saints versus the Carolina Panthers. In my opinion, this is going to be the best game of the wild card as a whole. Cam Newton's had a pretty good year, but the thing that I think is weird to me is they traded Kelvin Benjamin, who was their #1 receiver. Curtis Samuel, who was their 2nd round pick, wide receiver, also got hurt. Greg Olsen's been out almost the whole year, I'm pretty sure. And it just seems like they don't even have any names on their offense besides Christian McCaffrey and Cam Newton. But somehow their defense has stepped up enough to have them progress all the way to the playoffs. And then you have New Orleans, who has become one of the best teams in the NFL out of nowhere. And while Drew Brees hasn't had one of his best seasons, it's still good enough to get them to the playoffs and still be the Drew Brees that we all know. So this is going to be a really, really, really close game, but I have to go with the Saints winning this one, but I don't think it's going to be more than a touchdown. And then moving on to LA Rams versus the Atlanta Falcons, this is another game that I think is going to be really, really good. And at first glance, I wanted to immediately say the Rams were going to win, but I didn't want to be too obvious and too going with the flow for this video. I think if there's going to be an upset anywhere in the wildcard round, it's going to be here. Don't get me wrong, the Rams are having an amazing season, and I actually really, really would love to see them in the Super Bowl. And I really don't even have any stats to back this up, because this year, obviously, the Rams have been a way better team than Atlanta, but I just had this gut feeling that Atlanta's going to take this one. I don't know if it's because Todd Gurley's not going to have an amazing game, or maybe they're going to hold Julio Jones to under 100 receiving yards or anything like that. Again, I don't have the stats, and this is all gut. So I'm going to have to take Atlanta in this one. So back to the AFC, we have the Chiefs advancing to play the New England Patriots, who are on a bye, obviously, for being the 1st seed. And this is a matchup I think we all would love to see again. Over the past couple years, these two teams have really gone at it with each other, and I think it's kind of been back and forth. But I just can't bet against Tom Brady, even though I don't really like the Patriots just as much as everybody else. I'm not a Patriots fan, and I would love to see the Chiefs go forward. I have to take the Patriots in this one, guys. So I think Tom Brady and the New England Patriots will beat the Kansas City Chiefs to move to the conference finals. On to Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. Now, like I said, I think the Bills are going to keep it closer than everybody's expecting with Jacksonville, and that being said, I think the Steelers are going to completely blow them out. As you guys know, Big Ben threw 5 picks against Jacksonville, which I think is his most picks maybe ever, but I just don't see that happening again. Even if Antonio Brown's not fully healthy, there's just no way that Blake Bortles is going to beat out the Steelers to go to the conference championship. So as everybody expected, I'm going to have Tom Brady versus Big Ben in the AFC championship game. Moving on to NFC, you have the New England Saints. The New Orleans Saints playing the Philadelphia Eagles. I've been a huge Eagles bandwagon this year, probably because I wanted the Browns to draft Carson Wentz. and they didn't. And look what he did. He had an MVP type season until he got hurt, which is really unfortunate. That being said, Nick Foles is their quarterback, which sucks to see because I think they really could have made a strong playoff push. I think the Eagles have one of the most underrated defenses in the league with that monster D-line, but I just have a feeling this is going to be a really big game for Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Drew Brees, and that offensive powerhouse that is the Saints recently. So I'm going to have to go with New Orleans on this one. And finally, moving on to the 2 seed, which is the Minnesota Vikings versus the Atlanta Falcons. When people say defense this year, it's always been Jacksonville, and people have been hyping up Jacksonville, deservedly so because they've had an amazing season, I think actually the Minnesota Vikings have actually had a better defense. When you look at statistics like touchdowns allowed, passer rating, stuff like that, the Minnesota Vikings have an amazing defensive season. With Xavier Rhodes on Julio Jones and plus Harrison Smith, which is probably the biggest Pro Bowl snub of all time, considering that Harrison Smith could arguably win Defensive Player of the Year, there's just no way Atlanta's going to beat them. Even though Case Keenum's a good quarterback, he's not that elite level, but I still think it's going to be enough for them to move to the conference championship. Finally, we're at the AFC and the NFC conference championship to decide who goes to the Super Bowl. So in the AFC, the battle of the ages, the one we've seen a million times, Pittsburgh Steelers versus New England Patriots. I think this is going to be a really close game, especially if Antonio Brown's healthy enough to play a lot of minutes and a lot of snaps. But like I said earlier, man, I just cannot count Tom Brady out. I don't like him. I think it's just the Patriots infuriating me, and the idea of them getting to another Super Bowl and possibly winning a 6th ring just pisses me off beyond belief. Unfortunately, I do have the New England Patriots going to the Super Bowl for the AFC. And for the NFC, we have the New Orleans Saints versus the Minnesota Vikings. And I think this is going to be probably the best game of all the playoffs. I think it's going to be great to see Minnesota's defense try to slow down Alvin Kamara, Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, and Mark Ingram, that whole powerhouse they've had recently. And I also think it's going to be really great to see breakout players like Adam Thielen on Marshawn Lattimore and see how that defense works. I think this game is going to be within a field goal, but in this one I have the Saints making it to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl has arrived. It is the New England Patriots versus the New Orleans Saints. Again, I think this is going to be an amazing game. I think it's going to be very high scoring. I think Tom Brady is going to throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns. I think Drew Brees is probably going to throw for 2 touchdowns, giving a few more to Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. And I think it's going to be a great game, but in the end, I actually do have the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees getting another Super Bowl ring and getting the victory in this one. I know New England's defense isn't as bad as it was in the beginning of the season when through week 6 I think they were the 32nd ranked defense in the league, and it's gotten a lot better since then. But I think New England is just kind of coasting along being New England, and I think New Orleans is really on a hot streak right now where I just don't see them being stopped by New England's defense. So hopefully at the end of that game you'll see Drew Brees holding up a Super Bowl trophy and another ring, and I think he deserves it. So yeah guys, that is my playoff prediction for the 2017-2018 NFL season. Comment down below what you think, if you think any of these takes are ridiculous or if you think they're pretty smart. I think I'm pretty smart. And let me know who you think is going to win the Super Bowl. And matter of fact, let me know what you think the score will be. If you guys enjoyed this type of video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Again, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Subscribe if you're a new follower and you haven't seen any of my videos before. Also follow me on Twitter. My links will be in the description of this video. And until next time, Volt Squad, peace.